Ray Arndt, a complex person, a true self-made man with little education. He said when he was in the 8th grade, a teacher told him if he didn't stay in school and get an education, he would never amount to anything. And that comment was what started the fire in him to learn a trade and be something. Ray worked in many shops and dealerships around the area, starting with sweeping the floors and moving cars. He did every job with the same attitude that made his employers give him a chance to move up, and others were willing to train him. A few years later, a man that owned a paint supply store told him he was too good at his business. He should own his own shop. The man actually gave him credit to buy equipment and supplies to get started. Ray found a small building in the town of Vienna where he lived that was for rent. Now the fire was really burning and he decided to buy the building. It was right on the corner. Ray would leave work and he'd come by and have a beer or sometimes eat dinner. And I didn't know who he was. He didn't know who I was. And he noticed that I stayed and we didn't close until 12. And quite often I'd be there by myself at 12 to lock up. So he just started staying and walking out to my car. And one night he came in with his payroll book. He couldn't imagine why, things weren't matching. And so I took his payroll book and I said, well, so-and-so made this, so-and-so made this, so-and-so made that. And he said, wait a minute. I fired that guy months ago. And the lady that was working for him had just continued to pay that person and was taking the money. He would come by on Thursday night with his payroll book, and I would do his payroll for him so he wouldn't get cheated. And I felt sorry for him, somebody was cheating him. He was working hard. He'd stay till midnight sometimes and working on cars himself. I just felt sorry for him. So then after my father sold the business, he said, well, why don't you come and work for me? I said, oh, okay, that's fine with me. And that's how I met him. Over the years, his business grew. He had many young people to come and work in the summer, washing cars, sweeping. Many stayed to learn more. Ray took pride in these young people. I don't think he really knew how much or just what each one took away with them, except how to work hard. He grew his business from a small 3-bay building in 1963 until 2000, when he was able to build a new shop just down the street. He was the proudest person I've ever seen. Every brick, I swear to God, I think he touched every brick that went in it. Just the way he did things, you do it right or you don't do it at all. So he was very difficult to work with. He never cheated anyone. He always said every car should be repaired as if it was his own. He never wanted to do anything halfway. He would just say, fix it right or not at all. Always just the ordinary guy, hard work, drink a little beer, and treat everyone the same. I ran the office, really. When he first started, it was a little cubby hole up here, a little slanted floor. That was it. The office was about as big as the bathroom in there. And I just accidentally ended up helping him. He was the one who would come in the office, and I'd be in the middle of doing something, and he'd say, call so-and-so, I need this, or do that. And I'd say, well, wait a minute, I got a customer, here. Oh, wait a minute. He'd say, don't tell me to wait a minute. If I'd say, just be quiet for a minute, Don't tell me to be quiet. Your name's not on the building out front. And that was always his argument with me. If I said anything, about doing something different or anything like that, your name's not on the building out front. I think you would be surprised that I didn't just turn around and sell. Because I I was an only child, and I was raised to make my own decisions. And that's why I never smoked, I never drank in high school. I had a lot of fun, I had a lot of friends, but I did it the way that I wanted to do it. I didn't, if somebody said, my mother used to tell me, if somebody told you to stand out in the highway, would you do it? And I've always been the one to do what people least expect me to do. Ray left us all too soon. In 2012, at the age of 82, he left a legacy of good work, fine reputation, and a respect from everyone that knew him.